just thank you for attending our post-fight press conference. Tonight I thought we had some just tough warriors out there. We saw some great action, some great fights, some very tactical fights, some technical fights. And now we know the journey of the tournament going into the semifinals. So it'll be Mr. Bigfoot Silva fighting Alistair Overeem and Josh Barnett fighting Sergey Karatanov. So I'd like to just pass over to Antonio, who's sitting here, who has to go in a bit and talk about what he thinks about his next matchup. So everybody, Mr. Antonio Silva.
Hi, guys. And the Overeem fight and Werdum is a good fight tonight, but I expected more, and I don't see too much. And I respect Overeem, but I'm going to train hard. I'm going to train for 3 rounds hard, and I know I can knock out this guy. I can fight stand up, fight in the ground. I believe me.
Are there any questions for Mr. Silva?
Antonio, during the fight, it actually seemed like Fabricio was having some success on the feet when he did throw punches. Did you notice that? Did you think that he actually did well on his feet when he was willing to throw with Overeem?
Jorge, fala aí em português, por favor.
Eu acho que ele teve sucesso nos momentos que ele ficou em pé.
O Werdum? Tem como se traduzir, já? Please help me. Sorry, guys. Que agora eu quero falar. Ele achou que o Werdum
teve sucesso quando trocou em pé. Você esperava isso?
O Werdum, ele é um lutador de chão. Ele é faixa preta também de Muay Thai, mas a especialidade dele é no chão e o Overeem conseguiu anular esse jogo dele.
Yeah, he said Werdum was a black belt Muay Thai practice, and he thought he could make more, but Overeem has more time doing Muay Thai, so he could avoid the game going to the ground and keep the fight on his feet.
Is there anything that surprised you about tonight as far as the fight?
Man, Jorge Masvidal, wow. Wow. Great fight, man. Wow, unbelievable, unbelievable. Daniel, this night is a great show, and I'm back for strong next show.
No, I was more referring to the Overeem Fabricio fight. Is there anything from Overeem since he's going to fight you next that you were surprised about?
Não, não senti nada surpresa. Eu pensei que ele vinha até mais agressivo, mas ele respeitou muito o Werdum e não conseguiu uma vitória, eu acho, como ele queria.
No, I actually feel Overeem respect a lot Werdum, and he didn't do as much he could, and nothing else.
Any other questions for Mr. Silva? Thank you, Antonio.
I told you before, if I beat Fedor, I will win this tournament. I promise to my fans, I promise to my family, and I'm gonna win, guys, this tournament. Thank you.
Next, Mr. Barnett had a great fight against Brett Rogers. Brett's a big guy, great big puncher, and Josh does what he does. And I thought it was a great tactical fight, and we look forward to having you fight Sergey Karatanov in the fall for the continuation of the tournament. But let's just open it to Josh for some opening comments.
Yeah, it was you go in there, you have a strategy. We stuck to it for the most part, but once I got on top of him, it became a matter of also just making him drown underneath me, taking his wind, taking his spirit, taking his energy, and doing it without any sort of injury, because this is a tournament. I have another fight, and I have another fight after that. So it's important to be very tactical, very strategic about how you take these guys out. By the second round, his mindset was completely changed in terms of his concentration on what was going to happen in the fight, allowed me to open up with some strikes, and then eventually finish the fight.
Were you surprised after you dominated the first round on the ground that he tried to take you down so early in the second round?
Well, he tried to take me down because I hurt him with the left hook, and instead of just covering up and looking for refuge, he decided to go on the offensive. It was a little surprising, yeah, that he went for a bear hug, but as a big guy that he is, it's not a bad move. You don't want a dude like that on top of you swinging away. However, it just gave me a nice double arm salto opportunity.
Brett, excuse me, in the first round you dominated Brett, and I think some people thought that if it got to the ground you'd be able to finish it right away. Was there any frustration or that you weren't able to get it in the first round, it took to the second, or what was happening that he was able to survive in the first round?
I just decided not to open up. I decided to keep it there, conserve energy, and ride heavy. Drive those hips through, take his guts, take his wind, and it's a small thing. It's not something that's visible, and you can't really see it to understand it, but I can feel it underneath when he's underneath me. I could hear it every time I drop low mount and drop the hips into him. He's just he can't breathe. His breathing's labored. He's grunting. He's having a hard time, and I know I'm just taking all of his guts out. I know if I if I did open up, he's going to open up too, and I could probably catch him in something. But why take that opportunity with a big explosive guy like that? Let him get thrashing about, and who knows what can happen.
Josh, like you said, it was a smart fight. It was a tactical fight, but the crowd did kind of boo a little bit. Does that bother you at all, or do you just understand that that's what crowds do?
No, you can't listen to the crowd very much. You got to go out there. You got to do your thing, and you know what? Crowd can boo you 1 minute and then cheer you the next.
When you look at Sergey, it seems like kind of a similar fight. Do you see it that way, or do you see different?
He's a more well-rounded fighter. He's a much better boxer in terms of technical, very sound boxing technique. Not so much. I don't know if he's got the slugging ability. In fact, I think Brett might actually be a little bit faster than Sergey to a point, but Sergey has a chin of granite, and he's got a better ground game too. So I got to train hard.
Did you come, like when you were on top and you had mount, in your mind all along, were you thinking submission, or were you just thinking whatever opens up is what I'm going to do?
A little of both. I wanted to threaten with some things like the top wrist lock, which is a pretty basic and easy submission, but that doesn't mean I can't pull it off. And threatening with it means it's got to stick in his mind. He's got to think about it. If you throw the right hand, even if you don't land it, they got to worry about it. They don't want to get tagged with it. Same thing. So. Kept riding heavy, kept feeling him climb the fence, kept having my corners telling me what's going on out behind me, and keeping him buried on that mat. Even he made a little bit of an attempt to escape, came around behind him, started riding him again. He rolled over, went right to mount.
Did you do a lot of wrestling practice for this one, and was that kind of your goal? You really concentrated on the wrestling game in this one.
Well, I wrestle quite a bit in practice. I think wrestling is my base, and wrestling I think is the best base for fighting. George here tonight looked amazing in the ring, and his boxing is always sharp. But it's that much more difficult to fight a guy on the feet if you got to worry about getting put on your back too. And this is MMA. You got to take advantage of all the opportunities in every weapon that you have. The more things they got to worry about, the better off it's going to be for you.
What prompted you to steal the mic at the end of the fight? It seems like you've been sort of going off the script a little bit. You did the pro wrestling thing, and then you took the mic.
I'm not here to do everything that everyone tells me to. I'm here to entertain. I don't need my hand held. I don't need to be directed. I don't need to have anybody try to prompt me to give something interesting. You just give me my moment, give me my time, and I'll give you what you want, and then some. People want to hear what I got to say, and if anybody wants to see how I finished a fight, hit rewind on a DVR. You can go check it out as much as you want.
The first round seemed similar to the Gilbert-Ivel fight in a lot of ways. Did it feel that way to you?
Yes, in some ways. However, in this case, I was in a much better mental headspace right now than I was back then for that fight. And I just was in there taking care of business and being very cognizant of my opponent and what needs to come next.
What's the difference in your mental state between both?
Well, I did get to hang out with Ariel Helwani a little bit. We did a little bit of back and forth banter. He eased my nerves. Yeah, kept me nice and relaxed and loose.
When you did
what was
No, arm wrestle over it.
okay?
2 out of 3.
But seriously, what was the difference?
I just was, I didn't have as much stuff on my mind. I didn't have as much stuff bugging me. Everybody lives their own lives. No matter what we do here, the fighters, the reporters, we're all human beings, and we all got our lives to live. And sometimes our lives get pretty shitty. Things happen, and we got to deal with them. And it's not what you want to go into your job, and it can affect it sometimes. But it's even worse when someone's trying to punch your face off. So you know what? No excuses. You go out there and you take care of business. Win, lose, or draw. Get your ass kicked, kick his ass. No one's going to care either way. You just got to do what you got to do.
What does this tournament mean to you, at this stage of your career? You fought a lot in Japan, and you fought early in the United States, but you haven't fought a lot in the United States in high profile, and this is kind of like, is this like a big run for you to really make
Absolutely. This is my chance. This is my triple crown. This is my IWGP. This is my opportunity to go out there and supplant myself as one of the best heavyweights that's ever walked the earth. I know it, but people want to see it. They want me to prove it. Fine. As long as you can line people up against me, I'm going to go out there and keep taking them out. That's my job. I'm born and bred to fight. So anybody who thinks they want to kick my ass, make them sign so I can go prove them different.
Is there anyone who on your promo, was there anyone that inspired you, or was that just
the last promo? No, that was just that was just me. I just came up with that. If anything, there is a song by Immortal called "One by One," but that promo was not inspired by Norwegian black metal per se.
Did you watch the main event?
Some of it.
What did you think?
Alistair looked flustered, able to sit. That was one thing I noticed. He never really sat on his strikes. And maybe just the chaos of all that movement and activity from Werdum just threw his whole game off. And, it's a way I hadn't thought of it, but by being so active, even to the point of being wild at times, Werdum is making Alistair move. And if he had any intention of seeing what his gas tank looked like, that was a good way to go about it.
Any of that go in your mind for the future, or is it a different bracket?
No, I think every fight is different. And I'll just keep my eyes open, keep focused, and when they make a mistake, I'll hang them.
Okay, let's get on to some of the other athletes that fought this evening. Jorge Masvidal did an amazing job, and Jorge fought for us. Started back in 2007. He fought for Strikeforce, and kind of watch his career growing. And I think this is one of his most dominant performances I've seen to date. And we look forward to a fight that we'll put together real soon, I think, with Gilbert Melendez. And then to my right, Mr. Daniel Cormier. Daniel is a two-time Olympian. I'm not sure if everybody in the room knows it, but when you look at his striking ability now, that's really what MMA is about. It's not just, continue to wrestle, and I'm just going to be this wrestler that's going to stop everybody and continue to wrestle. But he has a good a good stand-up game now. And if you looked at his striking ability today, I was very impressed, and I think I've seen a lot of great fights in my day, and I think that was a very good performance, Daniel. So congratulations. And Mr. Chad Griggs, we actually discovered Chad when he fought Bobby Lashley in Miami, I believe it was, right? Houston. And so, to see Chad continue on, I think he's 3-0 with us now. And we look forward to many more great fights with Strikeforce and you, Chad. So I'd like to open up for questions for the three gentlemen.
Scott, real quick, just to clarify, you said that you'll probably put that fight together with Gilbert Melendez, especially see what happened in the other fight tonight. Is that a certainty?
I mean, I think that, we're not making an official announcement, but I think that's going to be a front runner.
And how about, with the no contest tonight, do you think we'll see those two guys do it again?
You know what? I would like to, but again, that's something that we'll have to go back and examine. And timing is going to be an issue, and I don't know how long Wilcox will be out. Justin, how long he's going to be out for. So let's see what happens after. Give us a couple of days.
Did you get an idea of what happened, like as far as the severity of the injury, any preliminary work?
I'll tell you, I went back in the dressing room and I looked at his eye, and he was he had quite a bit of damage in his deep in the left part of the socket, and he was bleeding out of his eye socket at that point. So I think that I said, you better go to the doctor and take care of that. So that's where he went.
Sorry to ask this question if it's been asked before, but following the main event tonight, do you feel like that the Strikeforce will follow suit with the UFC with the main events being 5 rounds versus 3 rounds? It's a pretty close fight, I felt like.
Well, if you look at our tournament format, the next round is going to be 3 rounds. It doesn't matter if it's a main event or not. And then the finals of the tournament will be a 5-round fight. So that's that's going to be the format for now.
That final will be 5 rounds.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Scott, can you just give your thoughts on the main event?
I think it was a tactical fight on Werdum's part. I think that, after a point, like you said, I think, Josh said Alistair got frustrated. I thought Fabricio got frustrated as well. And, I think that, it was a tactical fight, and Fabricio wanted him to come down to the ground. Alistair didn't want to do that, and, it turned out to be a tactical strategy fight.
Did you agree with the decision?
Yes, I did.
Did you feel like that? Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, any questions for Daniel or Chad? Jorge Masvidal?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Daniel, can you talk a little bit about the strategy going into this fight? Obviously, it could have been an amazing grappling match between the two of you, but it turned out to be an impeccable show of improved striking from yourself.
Honestly, the game plan was to stand with him. I thought, and my coaching staff, we all thought that he would think he had the advantage, being that he'd fought so long. I've really only been fighting for 18 months, so his biggest advantages in his mind had to have been the striking and the jiu-jitsu. So we know what we do in the gym. I have the most amazing training partners in the world, and I felt confident and followed the game plan to a T. Per what my coaches say. So it was to stand. I didn't want to wrestle. Didn't want to put him in any situation where he had a chance to do anything. So it was to stand up, and I feel confident and comfortable. I'm not nervous about standing with anybody.
Were you surprised you didn't stop him?
Yes, I was very surprised. I was landing some pretty good leather on him, man. He's a very, very tough, durable guy, and it shows, because if you look at his record, I think he's been stopped twice in 50 fights. So very durable, tough guy, great guy, but I put some leather on him, and he was still there. So I tried to stay the course. Didn't want to get too excited and maybe fall into a takedown or anything. So I just continued to just do what we did in the game plan for 8 weeks, and it worked out great.
For Jorge, for George, at any point, like in the second round, were you worried at all, or not at all?
Well, about?
When the one point when Nunes did have an advantage on you, I think it was round 2.
I didn't feel ever he had an advantage on me.
Okay.
The only thing I was worried about is a ring light falling on me or something, but other than that, I was good to go, man.
Did you get a sense that, you said before that he might be underestimating you? There was a lot of talk, he was talking about, going to a title situation. Do you feel like you earned more of his respect and with the performance tonight?
I don't know if I earned his respect, and if I did, cool, and if I didn't, I don't care. But a lot of reporters were asking me if I was overlooking him for the title. I never looked any man, because everybody prepares, everybody got 2 hands, So I was just looking at Cage and whoever they give me next, I heard a lot of reporters telling me that he was looking past me for the title. So, and I told the reporters the only thing he's gonna be looking at is a doctor, if that's how he's thinking, and went that way, I think, So.
Did you feel that, though, inside the cage? Like he was sort of like not like he was overlooking you, but maybe he wasn't giving you the amount of respect?
Nah, because he might say it to the press, but between fighters, you know what we could do, you know what I'm saying? He seen me fight. We fight similar opponents. He knew he wasn't going to walk through me, man. Even if he would have beat me today, he knew it would have been a war, and it wasn't going to be no one-sided beatdown,
It seemed like you had him pretty well figured out, that you were catching him as he was slipping. He was always slipping the same side, and you were able to catch him with punches and cut him to kick that same way. I mean, was that something that you saw beforehand on tape that you knew to prepare for, or is that something you were able to figure out in the fight?
I never watched tape of my opponents. My trainer, Paulino Hernandez, he watches the tapes, and then he tells me what to do, and that's how we roll, I don't watch tape, though.
A lot of people were expecting it to be a full-on stand-up fight between you guys. You think when you took him down in the first round, it kind of changed his mindset about how the fight was going to go and kind of threw him off his game a little bit?
Definitely. I think, I train with a lot of good wrestlers, so I got to every once in a while mix it up, throw a tackle in there.
you've sort of been around for a long time. A lot of people know you. You have a lot of experience, and you're known as a good fighter in a lot of like hardcore circles. But can you point to any like maybe turning point in the past year or so of your life that might have led you to where you are now and the streak of luck that you've had?
Well, God first, man. Just God, helping me out with everything. My staff back there, Juan Carlos Feraldo, Paulino Hernandez, Alexis Villa, those guys, they're kind of like my babysitters. I get off track and they make sure that I stay on point, so I'm thankful to them and thankful to Mr. Coker to bring me back to Strikeforce, getting to show my skills on a big network like that, so just trying to put it all together, man.
Okay, if there's not any other questions, I think these gentlemen will be available for some one-on-ones after, but it'll be very limited. We also have a couple guests in the back. We've seen her, develop through the Challenger Series, and now she's going to be fighting on the big show against Marlis Kunin for the championship belt, and that's Miss Misha Tate back there. She's fighting July 30th in the Chicago fight on the undercard for Dan Henderson fighting Fedor Emelianenko. And also, a good friend of mine, and probably one of the greatest athletes of our century, and I really thank him for all his help and efforts and competing as an athlete in MMA, and he loves the sport, and that's Mr. Herschel Walker back there. And you know what? I think that's pretty much it. We're going to wrap it up. I'd like to thank Mr. Ken Hershman from Showtime. I'd like to thank the Texas State Athletic Commission, and we look forward to seeing you guys in Kent, Washington, and the UFC in Pittsburgh. Right? Thanks, guys.